There comes a moment in life where you must learn this truth. What you hold in your hands today can be gone tomorrow. People you thought would stay forever can walk away. Opportunities you believed were yours can disappear. And if your identity is tied to what you lose, then every loss will feel like your destruction. But hear me, losing is not your breaking point. It is your awakening point. It is your awakening point. Main Speech Life has a strange and divine way of stripping away everything that you thought you needed until all that remains is what you truly are. And sometimes that process hurts. Sometimes it feels like betrayal, abandonment, or failure. But in truth, it is none of those things. It is the divine order of life teaching you detachment, teaching you that you are not what you lost. The art of losing is learning to let go without losing yourself. It is standing firm when life takes the things you thought you could not live without and realizing you are still here. You are still breathing. You are still capable. That means you still have purpose. I came to tell you tonight, your strength is not revealed in how tightly you can hold on. Your strength is revealed in how gracefully you can let go. Some of you have been carrying people who no longer walk with you, jobs that no longer honor you, relationships that no longer serve you. You have been dragging yesterday into tomorrow and wondering why you are exhausted. It is not because you are weak. It is because you have not yet learned the art of losing. Loss has never been your enemy. Loss is a teacher. Every loss strips away illusions. Every loss refines you. Every loss says, trust me, what is gone was not meant to stay. There are some doors in your life that only close because the next one cannot open until you stop looking back. And let me tell you something. You will never reach your highest calling if you cannot master detachment. Because to live with purpose, you must live free. Free from the opinions of others, free from the pain of yesterday, free from the weight of what left you. Detachment is not indifference. It does not mean you stop loving. It does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you stop begging what was meant to leave to stay. Life is a river. And rivers move. If you try to hold the water in your hands, it slips away. But if you trust the current, it carries you forward. Losing is not the end. It is the current of life moving you to where you truly belong. I want you to think about this. You have survived every single loss you thought would destroy you, every heartbreak, every disappointment, every door that slammed in your face. And here you are, stronger, wiser, more awake than you were before. Don't you see? The art of losing is not about defeat. It's about transformation. So when you lose, don't break. When you lose, don't despair. When you lose, breathe and trust that life has already written something greater in your future. Say to yourself, I am not what I lost. I am not what walked away. I am not what was taken. I am what remains. And what remains, my friend, is more than enough. Because what remains is the real you, the unstoppable you, the unbreakable you, the you that can rise from ashes again and again until your very existence becomes a testimony that nothing in this world can take away your destiny. That is the art of losing. Not holding tight and not mourning forever, but standing tall in the storm, lifting your hands to the heavens and saying, I release what is gone because I know what is mine cannot be taken. And what is meant for me is still on its way. There are moments in life when something you thought was permanent is suddenly gone. A person you loved, an opportunity you built your hopes on, a dream you thought was secured, taken from you in what feels like a single breath. And in that moment, it feels like the end. It feels like the ground beneath you has caved in. But I want you to hear me. Loss is not the end. It is a divine reset. It is life's way of removing what you thought you needed so that what you truly need has space to come forth. The things you lose are not always punishment. They are preparation. Think about a sculptor standing before a block of stone. To the untrained eye, every strike of the chisel looks like destruction. Pieces are falling away, breaking off, shattering on the floor. But the sculptor sees something you cannot see. He sees the masterpiece inside the stone, and the only way to bring it forth is to remove what does not belong. That's what life does with loss. Every time something leaves you, every time something breaks away, it is a strike of the chisel. You think you are being diminished, but in truth, you are being revealed. Many people mistake loss as failure. They believe if I lost it, I wasn't worthy of it. If I lost it, life has rejected me. But that is not the truth. Sometimes losing is the highest form of protection. Sometimes what you lost was too small for the person you are becoming. Sometimes it was draining your energy, limiting your potential, or distracting you from your purpose. Life in its divine wisdom will not allow you to keep what was never aligned with your destiny. What looks like subtraction is often multiplication in disguise. I know this truth personally. There are things I begged life to let me keep, doors I pleaded not to close, relationships I prayed would stay. What's up here? And when they ended, I thought it was the death of my joy. But looking back now, I realize those losses were the greatest gifts I ever received. Because what I thought was the end was only the beginning. Life had to reset me. Life had to strip me of what I clung to so I could discover the deeper strength that was always within me. If I had held on, I would still be limited, still be blind to my greater calling. Loss has a way of pressing the restart button on your soul. It forces you to ask questions you never asked before. Who am I without this? Where do I go from here? What do I truly value? And in those questions, you discover your essence. You find out that your identity was never tied to the job, the title, the relationship, or the possessions. Those things can leave, but who you truly are, your spirit, your calling, your destiny remains untouched. That is the divine reset, the peeling away of illusions until only the truth of who you are stands firm. So the next time you face loss, don't see it as your ending. See it as your reset. Reset. See it as life cleaning the canvas of your story so something new, something greater can be painted. Stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start declaring, this happened for me. You are not broken. You are being repositioned. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Because when life resets you, it is only making room for something that is already on its way, something that will elevate you higher than where you have ever been. We live in a world that teaches us to hold on to everything, hold on to people, hold on to possessions, hold on to titles, hold on to approval. And when life takes something from us, we often see that as a sign of weakness, as though letting go means we didn't fight hard enough. But hear me, detachment is not weakness. Detachment is strength. It is the ability to stand tall when what you thought you couldn't live without is no longer in your hands, and yet you still rise. That kind of strength doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. Most people confuse detachment with indifference. They think it means you stop loving, stop caring, stop feeling. But that's not true. Detachment means you still love, but you don't cling. You still care, but you don't control. You still feel deeply, but you don't allow those feelings to chain you to what no longer serves you. True detachment is the highest expression of trust. It's saying, I trust life enough to release what it takes because I believe something greater is coming. That's not weakness, my friend. That's courage on another level. So imagine someone drowning in a river, holding tightly to a heavy log that is dragging them under. The longer they cling, the deeper they sink. It feels safe because it's familiar. It feels like security because it's something to hold on to. But the truth is, the only way to survive is to let go. That's how life works. Some of you are clinging to the very thing that's drowning your spirit. You think letting go will kill you, but in reality, letting go is the only thing that can save you. Detachment doesn't take away your life. It gives it back to you. Strength is not measured by how tightly you can grip what's slipping away. Strength is measured by your ability to release it with grace. Anybody can beg. Anybody can cling. But it takes courage. It takes faith. It takes inner power to say, if it's leaving me, then it was never meant to stay. That's not weakness, that's mastery. That's the kind of strength that kings and queens are built on. It is the quiet confidence that your destiny is not tied to what you lose, but to who you become in the process of losing. Detachment is freedom. It's the freedom to love people without needing them to complete you. It's the freedom to work with passion without letting your identity be defined by your job. It's the freedom to enjoy possessions without being enslaved by them. When you master detachment, you become unshakable. You are no longer a prisoner of outcomes because your joy, your peace, your purpose no longer live in what can be taken from you. They live in what cannot be taken. Your spirit, that's the real power. So if you find yourself losing something today, don't collapse. Don't think of yourself as abandoned or broken. Stand tall. Breathe deep. Say to yourself, I will not fall apart because something left my life. I will not lose myself in what I have lost. I choose to release it. I choose to trust the process. Because the truth is, the moment you master detachment is the moment you step into unstoppable strength. Detachment is not weakness. It is the highest form of power a human being can carry. Every time you lose something in life, there is a hidden message written within that loss. But most people never rate it because they are too consumed by their pain. They cry over what's gone. They obsess over their why. They replay the moment again and again until their hearts grow weary. But if you quiet yourself long enough, if you dare to sit in the silence of that loss, you will begin to hear the revelation. This had to leave so that you could see what you could not see before. Every loss carries wisdom. Every loss carries instruction. Think about it. How many times have you lost something only to discover later that it was the very thing holding you back? That friendship you thought you couldn't live without, once gone, showed you how much of yourself you had been compromising. That job you thought was your dream, once taken away, revealed to you gifts and talents you never knew you had. Loss is the divine mirror. It shows you the truth you were too afraid or too distracted to see. Without it, you would have stayed blind. Revelation doesn't come in comfort. It comes in disruption. It comes in the breaking, in the tearing away, in the moments when life says, this is no longer for you. That's when your eyes open. That's when you begin to realize that not every door that closes is a tragedy. Some doors close because the room behind them was too small for your future. You may not see it at first, but loss has a way of enlarging your vision. It forces you to see beyond the temporary and reach for the eternal. I remember a man who said losing my job was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Until I realized it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because that loss pushed him to create his own business. It forced him to dig deeper into his potential. It revealed a strength he never would have discovered had he stayed where he was. Sometimes revelation only comes when life removes your crutches so you can finally learn how to walk. Every loss is a teacher. If you treat it like a teacher, you will grow. Sure. But if you treat it like a curse, you will remain bitter, resentful, stuck in yesterday. The difference is in how you see it. When you lose, ask, what is this teaching me? What is being revealed about me, about life, about my path? Because buried beneath your pain is a priceless revelation, a truth that has the power to shift the way you see yourself and the way you live your life forever. So I want you to stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this showing me? That is how you master the art of losing. That is how you transform pain into wisdom, grief into growth, sorrow into strength. Every loss carries revelation, but revelation is only given to those who are willing to look beyond the tears and listen to the lesson. When you do that, you will never see loss the same way again. You will see it as life's way of opening your eyes to a higher truth. Too often, we define ourselves by what we have in our hands, the house we live in, the car we drive, the title on our business card, the relationship on our arm. And as long as those things are present, we feel secure, we feel important, we feel valuable. But when life strips them away, when the title is gone, when the relationship ends, when the possessions vanish, many of us are left empty because we believed our worth was attached to what we held. Hear me, your identity is not in what you hold. Your identity is in who you are. The danger of tying your identity to things is that things can leave. People can change. Circumstances can shift overnight. If your self-worth is anchored in what you can lose, then your entire life will feel fragile, unstable, like a house built on sand. But when your identity is anchored in your spirit, in your character, in your God-given purpose, then you become unshakable. You may lose things, but you will never lose yourself. You may lose positions, but you will never lose your place in destiny. That's the difference between living attached to the temporary and living rooted in the eternal. I remember meeting someone who lost everything in a financial collapse. His business, his wealth, his reputation in the eyes of others. People whispered, "He's finished." But do you know what he said? I lost my money, not my mind. I lost my house, not my hope. I lost my job, not my joy. Not my joy. That's the language of someone who knows the truth. Who I am is greater than what I hold. And because he believed that, he rebuilt, he started again, and he rose higher than before. Why? Because he understood that things don't make the man makes the things. When you know who you are, you stop being afraid of loss. You stop clinging to titles because you know your value doesn't come from a nameplate. You stop clinging to relationships that diminish you because you know you are already whole. You stop fearing failure because you know your destiny cannot be canceled by a single setback. That's the power of identity. It is the anchor that keeps you steady when the storms of life are raging, when everything around you is shaking. This is why some people collapse when they lose something and others rise even stronger. The difference is where their identity was rooted. If you see yourself only through the lens of what you have, life will keep you on a roller coaster, up when you gain, down when you lose. But if you see yourself as more than what you hold, then you live free. Free from fear, free from insecurity, free from the endless hunger for validation. You become untouchable because nothing external can define or diminish the internal. So I challenge you today, stop defining yourself by your possessions, your titles, your roles, your relationships. Those are chapters in your story, but they are not the story. They are pages, but they are not the book. Who you are is greater than what you hold, and until you understand that every loss will feel like a death, but when you finally grasp it, every loss will only reveal more the truth, that your worth was never in what you carried. It was always in what you are. And what you are is unshakable, unstoppable, and eternal. Grief is one of the most misunderstood teachers in life. Most people run from it, numb it, bury it, or pretend it doesn't exist. They fear the weight of it as though grief itself is the enemy. But grief is not your enemy. Grief is a messenger. It is the evidence that you have loved, that you have cared, that you have invested yourself deeply. And when you learn to embrace grief instead of resist it, something extraordinary happens. It transforms you. It deepens you. It awakens you. When you lose someone or something precious, grief knocks at your door. And you have a choice. Shut it out or let it in. If you shut it out, you remain stuck, frozen in time, unable to heal, unable to move forward. But if you let it in, if you sit with it, if you allow yourself to feel the sorrow fully, grief begins to work on you. It softens your heart. Widens your compassion. It breaks down your pride and shows you what truly matters. Grief embraced becomes a sacred tool of transformation. Think about it. Some of the most compassionate, wise, and spiritually awake people you will ever meet are those who have walked through the fire of grief. They are the ones who can sit with others in silence, who can understand pain without judgment, who can love without fear. Why? Because grief carved depth into their soul. Grief stripped away their illusions of control and reminded them of what is eternal. That kind of transformation only comes when you stop resisting the sorrow and allow it to have its way with you. There was a woman who lost her child, and for years she tried to outrun the grief. She drowned it in work, in noise, in distractions, but it only grew heavier. Finally, one day she allowed herself to sit in the pain, to cry the tears she had held back for so long. And in that moment of surrender, she found strength she didn't know she had. She discovered a purpose she had never considered, to comfort and guide other grieving mothers. Her grief became her ministry. Her sorrow became her gift. That is the transformation I'm talking about. Grief will break you open, but it does not come to destroy you. It comes to enlarge you. It comes to stretch your soul so that you can carry more love, more wisdom, more understanding than before. And while the pain may never fully leave, it becomes something sacred, something that shapes you into a more compassionate and purposeful being. When grief is embraced, it ceases to be a weight that crushes you and becomes a force that elevates you. So don't despise your grief. Don't run from it. Don't be ashamed of it. Let the tears flow. Let the sorrow speak. Let the ache in your chest teach you that you are still alive, still capable of loving, still capable of being moved by life. Because grief is not the end. It is the doorway into a deeper dimension of your humanity. And when you walk through that doorway with courage, you come out transformed, stronger, softer, wiser, and more aligned with the eternal truth that love never dies. Life is not just about gaining, it is also about releasing. Here's the truth. Many never learn. Until you let go of what no longer belongs, you cannot receive what is meant for you. Letting go is not just about loss, it's about making room. When your hands are full of yesterday, there's no space left for tomorrow. And yet so many of us cling to what is already expired. Old relationships, dead dreams, expired opportunities, holding them tightly while wondering why the new has not arrived. You cannot walk into your future while dragging the corpse of your past. Letting go is an act of trust. It is saying, I believe that what's ahead of me is greater than what's behind me. And that requires faith, because sometimes the new is not visible yet. Sometimes you stand in the gap empty-handed, grieving what was, uncertain of what will be. That gap is uncomfortable. That gap is where doubt whispers. But that gap is sacred ground, because in the emptiness you are being prepared. In the emptiness, you are making space for something better, something truer, something more aligned with who you are becoming. I've seen people cling so tightly to something that's gone that their fists bleed. They beg it to stay. They plead for it to come back. And all the while, life is waiting with something greater just outside their grip. But as long as they hold on, their hands are too full to receive it. This is why letting go is not just about release. It is about readiness. It is about telling life, I'm ready now. I trust you. My hands are open. And when your hands are open, blessings can flow. There was a man who lost his career of 20 years. He resisted, he fought, he cursed his fate. But when he finally surrendered, when he finally let go of what was no longer his, he found the courage to pursue a passion he had buried long ago. That passion became a business. That business became his freedom. The very thing he thought was his undoing became the key to his destiny. None of it would have been possible if he had not first released what was gone. Sometimes life has to empty you so it can fill you with something greater. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is recognizing that what left your life had completed its assignment. That person, that job, that season, it served its purpose. It taught you what it was meant to teach. It gave you what it was meant to give. And when its time was up, it left. That is not failure, that is order. And when you accept that order, when you release with peace instead of resistance, you align yourself with the flow of life. You stop fighting the river and you start moving with it. So I want you to hear this. Do not be afraid of letting go. Do not be afraid of empty hands. Empty hands are not a curse. They are an invitation for new blessings, new people, new opportunities to enter. Letting go is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter. And if you dare to trust it, if you dare to release what is gone, you will discover that life always has more for you than it ever takes from you. Letting go creates room for the new, and the new is already on its way. The hardest part about losing is not the absence of what was, it's the uncertainty of what will be. When something leaves your life, you stand face to face with the unknown. The door behind you has closed, but the one ahead hasn't opened yet. And in that space of not knowing, fear begins to whisper. What if nothing better comes? What if I never recover? What if I am left empty forever? But hear me, this is where faith is forged. The art of losing is not just about letting go of the seen. It is about trusting the unseen. Unseen. Life operates on a rhythm you cannot always measure. You may not see the path, but the path is there. You may not see the next chapter, but it has already been written. The unseen is where your destiny lives, where your breakthrough hides, where your future is being prepared. Trusting the unseen is saying, I believe there is more for me, even though I cannot see it yet. That kind of trust is what turns loss into transformation. Without it, loss feels like death. With it, loss becomes the womb of rebirth. Think about a seed planted in the ground. When it disappears beneath the soil, it looks like it has been buried, lost, gone forever. But what you cannot see is the life stirring within it. What you cannot see is the roots stretching deep, the stem preparing to rise. The unseen is always working. And just like that seed, when something leaves your life, it may look like death, but it is often the planting of something greater. You just can't see it yet. That's why you must trust. There was a man who lost his marriage, his home, and his career all in the same year. To him, it looked like his life was over. But instead of giving up, he chose to trust that there was something beyond what he could see. He rebuilt slowly, step by step. Years later, he stood stronger, wiser, surrounded by love and purpose greater than before. Looking back, he said, what I thought was the end was only the preparation for what I could not see. His loss was the seed. His faith was the soil. His future was the harvest. Trusting the unseen requires surrender. It requires humility. It requires saying, I don't have to understand it to believe it. You will not always know why things had to leave. You will not always see how the pieces will come together. But if you can resist the urge to cling to what you see and instead rest in the truth that the unseen is working for you, you will discover a peace that surpasses understanding. That peace is what carries you through the night until the dawn breaks. So I want you to embrace this truth. The art of losing is not about despair. It is about faith. It is about trusting that even when the road ahead is hidden, your life is still guided. Trust that every loss is a doorway, every ending a beginning, every unseen place a stage being prepared for your arrival. Do not let what you cannot see cause you to lose hope. Instead, let it deepen your trust, because the unseen is not empty. It is where the miracles are forming. And if you dare to believe it, you will see that nothing you lose can stop what was divinely ordained for you. My friend, hear me. Losing is not the end of your story. Losing is the refining fire that shapes your destiny. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it breaks your heart. Yes, it shakes everything you thought you knew. But within every loss is a seed of revelation, a lesson of strength, a door to something greater. You are not defined by what you lost. You are defined by what you rise with after the loss. The art of losing is not about defeat. It's about transformation. It's about releasing the illusion of control and learning to trust the higher order of life. It's about standing in the ashes of what was and declaring, I am still here, I am still breathing, I am still destined for greatness. Because if life took it from you, it was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to reset you, to free you, to prepare you for what's coming next. You've survived every loss you thought would kill you. You've endured heartbreaks that felt unbearable. You've walked through nights that seemed endless. And yet you are here. That means you are stronger than you thought, braver than you believed, and more powerful than you imagined. Don't carry yesterday into tomorrow. Don't drag the dead weight of what's gone into the life you still have ahead. Release it. Let it go. Make room for the new. This is the truth. What is yours cannot be taken. What is divine will always find you. And what is coming is greater than what is left. You must believe this. You must trust this. Because if you do, every loss will no longer feel like a curse. It will feel like a doorway to the next level of your life. So stand tall. Wipe your tears. Square your shoulders. And say with conviction, I am not what I lost. I am more than what left me. I am what remains. And what remains is unstoppable. That, my friend, is the art of losing. And when you master it, you don't just survive life. You transcend it. Now go and live as someone who knows nothing lost can stop a soul that is destined to rise. Sign.